yet. It was an observatory, but tanks sieging up, and they'll be able to shell part of Song Ho's base, but not the whole thing. I'm not sure. Well, if ForGG does get the secondary down, things may even out, but this harassment has ceased to be terribly effective. I think the drop tech and DTs of Song Ho are countering it relatively well, and yeah, one tank goes down, second tank is going to go down. So ForGG's lost a lot of forces on this harassment, and has done less and less damage every time. So he is floating his command center out and maintaining a lot of SCVs over. Meanwhile, getting a 4th and 5th factory down. So he's going to keep playing very aggressively and maybe just try to push in the front if he does finally concede that this drop tech route has ceased to work for him. But well, 4th base now going down for Song Ho. So Song Ho is going to be very far in the lead economically if ForGG can't do anything. ForGG does have a lot of factories, and more factories, I think, than Song Ho has gateways at this point. So, but he's still persisting with these drops, and I don't think the drops are going to be the answer here. Dragoons already in position to intercept, and those units won't even get out of the drop ships. So maybe he just feels like he can't push out. Maybe he feels like Song Ho has too many forces on the ground, but he ought to be able to, out of 6 factories, okay, now he's going to go for the ground push. And I think this is the right decision. Not a lot of Dragoons for Song Ho, and no Zealots at all that I can see. He's had the Citadel of Adun for a while, but I don't know if he's invested in Zealot legs. So he's going to be naked against even the couple of tanks that ForGG has here, and he's going to have to fall back. Oh, and ForGG might try to break through those temples, which is a very good move in TVP because it allows the Terran player to just sort of move slowly along that very narrow ridgeline outside the Protoss player's base and destroying his own SCV with splash damage for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but Dragoons pressing out to clear mines, take one hit from Siege Tank, but they're going to fall back. And the tanks have taken down those temples. The tanks take down the temples very, very fast. There are 10 temples stacked on top of each other, but the tanks do splash damage to all of them. And now the Vultures are heading in the back. They're going to be greeted by those Dragoons. I'm not sure. ForGG micros the Vultures very well. He might be able to take out the Dragoons with mines, but I don't think so. Oh, and a pylon blockade is down there, so he definitely won't be able to do that. Meanwhile, those tanks are a little bit naked. If there were some Zealots, they could just run in and snipe a lot of the tanks, but there aren't any Zealots at the moment. A lot more gateways probably just came up for Zean, but his Dragoons are, not for Zean, for Song Ho, but his Dragoons are all being cornered and forced back. He's taken a couple of losses. And now those forces are all behind that bridge. I don't know if there's a way they can get back without running the gauntlet of siege tank fire, and mines I'm sure will be there. Now there's a couple of Zealots out and a whole bunch of gateways, 7 or 8, but the Zealots are just starting to come out, and there's not enough of them, and the contain's already in place, so this is a terrible position for Protoss players to be in. Song Ho has the economic advantage, but he can't do very much with it because all the units he can pump are just going to be thrown into the maw of this Terran contain. He does have forces in the back, so he can force ForGG to split his tanks, and that's going to be somewhat effective. But ForGG does have 4 tanks at that front and 3 in the back. So, okay, big force now ready to press out the front for Song Ho, and I think he's going to be able to break. The Vultures are out of position, and 5th tank coming up. No, ForGG does repel that push. His 2 tanks in the back, though, go down to a DT drop. So he's got 5 tanks at the front, and he may just allow this force of Song Ho's to come out the back and hope that his tanks can hold it off. Vultures pressing down to try to take out those Dragoons, and they are going to force them back with mines. Arbiter now out for Song Ho, but again, a very Dragoon-heavy Zealot light army, which is not going to do very well against these tanks. A couple more Zealots popped out, upgrade going down to the Forge. ForGG's doing a great job, and more forces coming up, and I think I think Nexus goes down. I think this is ForGG's game at this point. I don't think Sangho, I think however many troops Sangho produces, they're not going to be able to overcome this positional disadvantage that he's at. Scan going down, and turrets there already, too, to counteract the Arbiter cloaking. And, yeah, Sangho is being forced back behind this very, very narrow choke out of his main, and he's just going to be forced further and further back as the game progresses. Going in one more time, he doesn't have enough to break this, I don't think, though. More vultures coming up. And yeah, the turrets can see the zealots in this cloaking. Actually, doing a pretty good job. He's taking down all but 2 of the tanks, but those 2 tanks do survive. And Splash blowing a couple of vultures to hell. But more zealots streaming out. We'll see who can replenish their forces faster. Sangho still does have the advantage of that 3rd base. Well, he has another mining gas expansion. The 530. Oh, and he's dropped DTs in the back, so he's going to try to do some harassment to keep ForGG distracted. ForGG almost mined out his main, actually, because ForGG got his expansion so late. He mined his main resources very fast, and those turrets go down scanning, but he has no anti-air, so he can't combat that shuttle. He has an armory down, as the Korean observers are pointing out, but he hasn't built any Goliaths. So this harassment will be sort of effective. Still no mineral only down for ForGG. Very small force at the front at the moment. He's had to pull forces back, and he sent 1 tank down to the 530. No gateways to that 530, so it probably will be able to take down the Nexus. I guess probes could be pulled, but oh, stasis going down on 1 tank. That's a waste of a stasis. But good mine drag there. Sangho might be able to break out here. Wow, ForGG has left the front very uncovered, and Big Force is actually breaking out for Sangho. So, I'm forced to eat my words here. Sangho may be able to overcome this disadvantage that he's at, and mount a comeback. We'll see. When that tank comes out, it's going to be annihilated. Pushing through the mines right now. A couple more vultures coming out. They're going to try to reestablish the campaign with mines, but there's an observer right there, so I'm not sure why they're wasting those mines. Single tank being destroyed by a ton of zealots. So... and another tank there in the background. ForGG sort of wasting his forces, trying to hold this contained. But in the meantime, he is pressing down the bottom. If he takes out that 530 expansion, he'll definitely be in a lead. There's that shuttle right there, and the Arbiter coming in. I don't think ForGG is going to be able to do this. We'll see, but yeah, one of those tanks is very badly damaged already, and I think this attack is going to go down too. So ForGG has virtually no forces on the ground now, and he took out the natural expansion, but he's still behind on bases. And I'm not sure if that's an expansion at the 1 o'clock, going down for 1 player. But we'll see, I guess. Oh no, that's just a cannon to ward off drops. Now another drop going in. We'll see if this is effective. 2 shuttles. Still a lot of probes there. Sangho is getting close to mining out his main and his mineral only. Oh, and dropship almost goes down. Just barely manages to get the units out. And now those vultures are going to be picked off. I don't know if they didn't have mines or just didn't lay them, but he doesn't want to lose those dropships. Oh, and 1 dropship I think goes down there. And meanwhile, Sangho is pushing in the front. So great stasis there. Sangho doesn't have a lot of forces to back it up though, so he's probably going to have to... No, he has 4 Dragoons and he's pressing in. Single tank in the background for ForGG. A bunch of SCVs pulled to the back. I'm not sure why. Maybe they were supposed to be distance mining. And harassment's been cleaned up, and now I think ForGG's almost lost control of the game because he doesn't have forces. He has 3 tanks now, and they're going to be able to clean up this Dragoon push. But again, ForGG is falling behind on bases. We'll see if he is getting that mineral only up. That could make a difference. Now Zealot's streaming in, and I think, well, very narrow corridor that they have to push through to get to those tanks. So ForGG is going to be able to hold things off for the moment, but cloaked Zealots pressing through to clear the mines. And Sangho's got an observer hovering over that expansion to see when it goes down. But Sangho had a big economic lead, now a huge force of Dragoons pressing out, and I think this is GG for ForGG. We'll see we'll see whether he can do anything to come back from this disadvantage. He's pushing out with a few tanks, just a couple of vultures supporting. But that push is being spotted out, and ForGG wisely, well, is pulling back anyway. I don't know whether it's wise, because there's not really anything he can do either way. If he sits in his base, he's just going to be run over by macro. He's getting more forces up. Finally, some Goliaths to deal with that shuttle. So the shuttle does have, and the arbiters, of course. But the tanks are caught unsieged, and this is really, really bad for ForGG. And the stasis, and ForGG does GG. So the first set of the match goes to eStro. A bit of an upset. Songho taking down ForGG, and pretty good game overall. I think ForGG got a little bit too locked into his build and made a mistake of not adapting when he saw that it wasn't working. At any rate, I'm going to cut this commentary short so I can keep it to 2 parts. Thanks for watching.